Today we're going to talk about how one of our students went from underpaid full-time hospice nurse to real estate mogul.
If you haven't already, click the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you're notified every week when we drop a new video.
When Felecia got started in real estate investing, she was a full-time hospice nurse taking care of Debbie's mom, and there a friendship formed. Both ladies knew that they were both interested in investing in real estate, but neither of them knew how to actually do it.
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize I didn't know anything.
Oh yeah, they were brand new.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's pretty incredible that within a handful of years, Felecia and Debbie went from zero to real estate moguls, owning multiple single-family home rentals, a commercial shopping center, and multiple apartment buildings.
Ooh! When you think about their story, a lot of people, when they look at them, they're like, how did that happen, though? They went from knowing nothing to now they've got this whole portfolio that's pretty incredible, actually. It all started with them learning this path and getting involved in real estate. The first step that they took, I think you mentioned it, was the single-family homes, right?
They went and bought properties that were basically already performing. You'll hear the industry term is turnkey, where someone else will buy it, renovate it, get tenants in there, get property management set up, and then basically sell it to you as a performing cash flow property. And that was really where they got started in their first few deals.
And that makes sense because then they got the background, the real estate, how to do the investments, so the whole process, like the behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But that didn't work out the way they thought.
Yeah, no, they'll tell us now, they're like, yeah, I mean, those deals in hindsight were really not very good, but we didn't know any different, but they still express a lot of gratitude about it because it's really what got them started. If they hadn't done those couple deals that were just kind of marginal, they never would have entered the game. And there's just a big learning curve.
It's true though too, it's the momentum, right? If they didn't do those, they wouldn't have had the momentum to get into bigger things. So everybody's got to take that first learning steps. They got into turnkey single family homes and trying to get the cash flow game going pretty strong, but they were learning along the way, right? So what was the next thing that happened?
Yeah, so they were like, you know what, I'm glad we did it, but I think before we go any further in real estate, like let's actually get some education and knowledge so we don't have to learn from the mistakes. So they ended up going and getting educated in how to do fix and flips. That was really the next thing that they wanted to do. And they went on to do a bunch of fix and flips after learning how to do that properly. And they did them all remotely. Where do they live again?
Yeah, they literally did that remotely and they dialed that in. They live in Colorado.
Yeah, they live in Colorado. Were any of the deals in Colorado?
No,
none of them. They're all over the country.
Totally. So they got their that first step into remote investing where, you know what, my backyard isn't going to suffice for the goals that I have, so let me expand out, right? They did that. They mastered the remote piece of it and mastered the flipping side of it and did very well for themselves, right? And then now that they got that cash coming in, they were like, what? Let me get into multifamily or something commercial.
So they don't have to keep flipping and flipping and flipping. Yeah, because it becomes a job.
Yeah, flipping does become a job. Yeah. It's a good way to infuse your business with some cash, but man, I don't want to be flipping when I'm 60.
For real.
Yeah. So ultimately, they started with the single family turnkeys, then they went into fix and flips, and they got some momentum. But what do you think makes Debbie and Felecia successful at this? Like, what is it about them?
They're always asking questions. They're always seeking more knowledge, advice. They have more experienced investors like looking at their deals and helping them learn how to think through challenges. And it's cool because at this point, now they've done a whole bunch of different deals, and not only, they still ask questions as they go, but now they're able to be a resource for other newer investors who are in the mastermind who are just getting started. And when you have to then teach what you do, you really learn it at a different level. So they're just super supportive and helpful. And I think by doing that and giving advice to people based on their experience, it really locks in those lessons. And so they just keep becoming more and more successful with every single deal.
You know, you mentioned them asking questions. And I think the biggest piece that I see in Debbie and Felecia is that they're not afraid to ask what might be viewed as a dumb question, right?
Yeah, I love that about them.
They will literally just ask whatever. If they don't have clarity, they ask the question, right? And sometimes I think that our mind gets stuck on, well, I don't want to ask that because that's not a smart question. I should probably know that. And you know what? You probably don't, and that's okay. So I want you to comment below any question that you think might be a silly question or a dumb question or, God, I can't believe I have to ask this question. Ask it below and we're going to answer you because it's perfectly normal and human when you're in a new area trying to figure out, well, what do I know? What do I not know? And what do I not know that I don't know? Ooh, that felt like that Friends episode.
Don't know that we know they know we know.
All right, so the next step in their journey brought them to us. They wanted to learn about multifamily and commercial. So the very first thing that they did in their journey to get started was they ended up being a joint venture partner in someone else's 18-unit value add deal. And the great benefit of that is it allowed them to kind of dip their toes in a little bit. They were still learning, still going through the course, still, getting coached, but they were able to participate in a deal because they put money in it and they were part of the team, but without diving fully in. So that was their first step, which was great.
That was a great step. I think the next thing that was super impressive that I noticed is when they bought that commercial building.
Jeez,
They did this commercial building, guys, and I swear it was like they closed within a couple of days before the end of the year in 2020. It was like mad dash, right? It added $98,000 of annual cash flow. Cash flow.
Like
that's theirs.
Net.
Right. Net. All the nets.
All the nets.
Like you could be a pool man, so many nets. $98,000, that's a job. That's a salary.
And with those two deals under their belt, they had a lot of confidence at that point. And not only confidence, they had credibility because then it was time for them to go after their own apartment building. And frankly, sometimes it's hard to convince the brokers to send you those bigger deals, right? But you have to show them that you can get it done. Because they had those two deals under their belt, they were able to say, we are already owned in a commercial center and an apartment building, and they were able to get an 18-unit, another value add under contract in Virginia, and they were the operators this time. They brought on some joint venture partners so that they could participate, but they're the ones running the deal. And then after that, there was, that 7-unit?
Yeah, there was a 7-unit with Marietta.
Yeah, so they have all these different deals, and now, what are they running at?
They're about 60 doors right now.
That's right, they're on 60 doors, and they're not stopping.
No.
They're continuing to acquire. It's amazing, and it's awesome to watch their journey.
In fact, they've gotten so big, the cash flow that's coming in, I'm pretty sure that they're looking at being LPs and syndicated 506C deals and stuff like that. Like they're able to just keep scaling, and as the money comes in, put it to work so it's working for them.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's better than flipping houses. Totally. If you do want to get into multifamily real estate investing, but you're not sure what's the first step, the second, or the third, you can click the link in the description below and a member of our team will hop on the phone with you and talk about your goals, your resources, and how we can hold your hand and get you to where you want to be.
The other thing we want to tell you is that we have a free Facebook group. It's called Multifamily Real Estate Investing. So if you want to be around people that are like you on the journey, looking to learn, come join us in that Facebook group. We do tons of free education and content there. And every week, Jen and I make ourselves available for a question and answer session. It's live, it's in Zoom, we're face to face. You gotta come to the Facebook group, register, go to events, and then we'll see you there. But any questions you have about real estate, we're there to answer them for you.
All right, so thanks for watching, guys. If you want to learn more from us, check out this video on how to make a safe offer on apartments. And we'll see you next week.